43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
All right. It's time for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on life. And wow, you hear all this stuff about data centers and whatnot, and they're evil. They're just evil, but yet, I was sitting in one of those zoning meetings for a data center, and everybody's complaining about that while they're on their phone playing the games. It's like, wait, hold on, folks. That's why the data centers provide the games, and you're here. I don't know if you saw the iron in that, but I did. Actually, I was standing right next to Josh Bain, who was just allegedly appointed to the RURC to take over for Andy Zay, who is, let's put it this way, he's not going peacefully. So, and that's why I have my tinfoil hat on tonight. I thought just put it on out of the gate. As crazy as yesterday was with all this silliness going on with the wheel tax and the IURC stuff, and I had an employee. This must have been a rough weekend for me, because they came out hot on Monday. The day was a little cooler. But tonight we got Sarah Jenisee Brown coming on. And I'll tell you what, I just met her this year, and quite impressed. She seems like ADHD that I can relate to. A lot of projects going on. And when I saw this project we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, a self-sufficient data center, it's called Limestone, type of deal. I'm like, wow, I'm a mason contractor. I've done limestone carving. We've set some big limestone pieces on buildings. I thought, wow, this is really great. We'll bring her on and talk about it. So I set this up a couple weeks ago, and here she is to come on tonight and talk about that. Now, Tiffany's under the weather. She's feeling a little ill, and I feel like I'm catching one of those summertime colds. I don't know. Hopefully not, because I got to lay bricks tomorrow. I got to lay bricks tomorrow. So yeah, we got Justin in the chat. He has both autism and ADHD, and he is quite the commenter on Facebook, and he really is a walking encyclopedia. I just have the ADHD. I don't have the other part, the autism, the superpower of autism. I think I maybe got some creativity out of that deal, but the numbers and all that thing, not so fast. But anyway, and just an update from last week, I had just seen the video from Blythe Potter that was railing on Danny Anderson down at Emmanuel Church, and I came in a little hot on that one, and I thought about this week, and I watched the video again, and the more I watched it, the more I got mad. I got more mad. It wasn't helping me, so I made some corrections. So if you want to go to my Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Oh yeah, made it well over the 500 people on the for the church peer review. I was able to do my first live church peer review. It was awesome. Went to Tyler Mitchell's church. It was sort of interesting because he said, "Yeah, come on to my church." So we did get in there. The place is packed. Some of these churches that put their water bottle, their Bible in their spot. We're hunting a seat. So I go in, I sit next to this lady, and it looks like her son, and sitting there, and all of a sudden, here comes Tyler Mitchell sitting right beside me. You explain it. It's either coincidence, luck, or the Holy Spirit. That's all I'm going to say. However you believe is what you can believe. But I thought it was the look on his face was like, Wow. How'd you know? So anyway, that was fun. Go look at that. I doctored it up a little bit. I made some comments, probably not too, I was probably unchristian in the comments, probably was. I really was reluctant. I sort of sat on it all week, sort of think about it. And like I said, the more it just got to me. So anyway, that's that. We're not going to put Sarah through that stuff tonight, like we did poor Jenisee Trimble. And it looks like her case got postponed until September. So I don't know what those people are doing down there. Just let the poor lady on the stinking ballot. I mean, for the love of everything holy. And then we have another guy down there in Ellington's District Senate 39 that the Democrats didn't file the paperwork right. Then yesterday we had the Spencer Deary Copenhagen ruling. It just was a crazy Monday. So anyway, you didn't come on here to hear me complain about all the things going on. You came on here to talk about this. I'm excited to see about this data center and see how it works and everything. So I'm going to bring Sarah on here real quick. Hey, Sarah, how's it going? Oh, you're muted.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Good. That's good. Hey, thanks for coming on. I know you're out in California. So
yeah, having a blast out here, but can't wait to get back to Indiana.
I'm letting have it rub off on you, okay? The weather's beautiful. I was out riding. I mean, it's a great place till you add people. That's what I'm just kidding. About that, but yeah.
Well, it was probably 104 degrees on Magic Mountain when I was riding the roller coasters with my daughters a couple of days ago. I hadn't been on a roller coaster in about 30 years because I was pregnant literally for like 27 years.
Popping out on the roller coaster. That's embarrassing. Well, last time I rode one in Rainbow World down in Alabama, I felt like my spine was getting ripped out of it. It's probably time to quit doing that. But you mentioned your daughters. Now I want to bring this up real quick because, I saw a TikTok video, or there was a TikTok video that was put out against my pastor, Danny Anderson, that was just appalling of, who's going to rip on a now I can see it. Micah Beckwith, he gets what he gets. He stuck his nose into politics, but not this guy. He doesn't deserve
Danny is a great guy. Going to his church is like going to a TED Talk about Jesus every week.
Yeah,
we love Danny.
Yeah, well, you need to check out my my redo of Life Potter's her little TikTok on there that Danny actually apologized. See, I was actually there. I did my church peer review. Well, I didn't want to do it. I was taking a person to church because that's a good place to take a person that's not been to church. That's a great place to start them out. And I happened to go on that weekend. I'm like, what the what? So I was just like, man, and I've known Danny for 20 years, and I actually laid the bricks on your house and Cantor Hall at the main campus there in 1996. About the same time. Actually, that one was earlier there. So anyway, it just got me the wrong way. And I don't know, it seems like we need to stand up against these people that just attack us and they just think there's no consequences. And this is why I bring this up. I'm not bringing that up to bring that up, but I saw that you had posted about your lovely daughters. And I saw some of those comments.
12 lovely daughters.
Sometimes the comments are funny.
Oh, the comments are a zoo. It is absolutely funny, and can't believe the things people say.
Oh, I know. Well, I posted one that got on Threads. I found a euro in the airport at the down in Orlando coming back last December, and I couldn't see it, Boomer Eyes. So I took a picture of it and blew it up, but it was real blurry. So I put it on there anyway. I said, "What is this coin?" 2 million views, and it was hilarious. Did you take that with a potato? It's a blurro. And it got all the way to Yugoslavia. I was like, that's great. It's just crazy how things take off. But I mean, I see Brad back there, and Lucy's still she's going to be fairly on time because she does zoning meeting on Tuesday. And, she's probably out there fighting with somebody in the parking lot, where the show's supposed to be going on, because she reminds me a little bit about you, a little spunky and pretty sharp and, always getting into stuff. So give me your take on that. I mean, I know you're just you're just a nice person. And I don't know why people think you are. You can't meet you and not feel the energy and feel just like you're just trying to help humanity. And how people so evil? How is it? I got a theory. Hurt people hurt people. Is that what you?
It's true. It's true. I mean, I've done a lot of work in orphanages, and there's a lot of trauma in those spaces, and you want to help these kids, and then, you realize how they shut their hearts up to the very people who want to help them, and anyone who's been around people with trauma, foster kids, and kids that have had, a hard life, if someone's lashing out at you, they probably have something going on in their story, going on in their past, and they've forgotten how to love.
Yeah, attachment disorder. I mean, they really just, I've noticed that some that if they start getting close, they just, instead of the fear of losing that person, they'll drive them away. And
It's true. It's true. It's hard. It's hard.
But bless your heart, 15 of them, 10 of your own and five in the backup. So if you got a football team, World Cup, you should get them all going in the World Cup. And
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Sounds like a great plan.
yeah, I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off because you're serious. But I tell you, it's been, I don't know. I was on a show, Soapbox, Patriot Soapbox, the other night, and I had been on in a couple of years, and they noticed my attitude was a little bit more edgy. So I think that I'm getting a little more edgy. I don't know if I'm just getting old or cranky, or if it's just, I mean, there's just a feeling of like, I feel like we're going to have we're going to have a war of some sort. It's going to be a spiritual, it's going to be a holy war, a race war, a civil war, or I mean, it seems like it's boiling up. I don't know.
Maybe, or maybe you just need a nice cup of herbal tea.
Yeah. All right, Lucy. Speaking, that's about enough of that. We being herbal tea. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Brad. And look, Lucy, that got Lucy laughing there on that one. So let's see. Brad's on the right. Oh, that's wrong. We can't have that. Look, Brad's wearing his mask.
Well, you took off your conspiracy hat.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Like,
well, I just, I felt like
I found my old box. I had to bust these out. We haven't done conspiracy theory in a while.
Yeah, you just need to grow that mustache down all the way over.
Well, I started I had to take a drink of something earlier, and so I just
that was always a good one. We're in the restaurant, but once you get in there, you can take it off and eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it just keeps breaking too.
Yeah, I didn't want to hijack Sarah's show like I did last week, but I was a little out of it.
Well, no, and we all love Sarah because like you kind of hit it on the head too. Like she just comes up with like answers to problems that we all have, and not coming at it from like any sort of partisan way. Sarah, they laughed at me last time that you were on the show because I usually do an Irish goodbye.
We laugh at him every show.
At the end of the show, like, but after the show, like when we all get together and stuff, I usually just Irish goodbye and I'm out. Lucy was like, "You actually stayed. You stayed for Sarah." I'm like, yeah, like Sarah was awesome. It was very nice.
What
like,
an honor.
Yeah. So I'm going to get the question started out here about this data center. And you came up to the God and Country conference. And by the way, I got all your autographed pictures that you left. I snagged them. It wasn't stealing because you'd already left. So I have those. And actually the picture in the preview for the show is one of those pictures. But I'm like, what in the world? It's like, what doesn't she do? So tell me how you, and it's like, it's so far along. It's not like you just sat down, throw it down on a napkin. I got an idea. This thing's been thought out. You got pictures and all that. How long have you been working on this thing? Well, first of all, tell everybody what it is in a nutshell.
All right.
How long you've been working.
So last spring, I decided I was going to run for Congress because I didn't feel good about voting for the guy that I needed to run against. And while I was campaigning, half of everybody wanted to talk about data centers. And it was one of the biggest topics that was stressing people out because literally these data centers are causing your electricity rates to go up. They're using eminent domain to put power lines in your backyard. They're using the water, polluting it. They're ugly, they're loud, and they're taking precious farmland. And they're getting away with it because of corporate welfare. And data centers was not on my website for votesarahbrown.com.
I mean, it just popped up. I was like, what?
But as I began to listen to people, as one should when you want to be a political leader, I began to realize that what's going on with data centers is genuinely hurting communities, families, to the point that people are saying, we don't want data centers. And no one would want one of those within 100 miles of their house.
Yeah.
And
No. And do you think, I know that I kind of brought up the fact that you're very nonpartisan and we all love that about you, but I'm going to make it partisan because I'm fun like
You're
that.
Brad.
Yeah, well, because when I was at the Madison County Democrat table, they had signs saying no data centers, you know, and that's something that Democrats can actually kind of like run on this election. And
Yeah.
I looked over at the Republican table, and it's just they didn't have these signs, but isn't it by default, like if you don't have no data centers signs, aren't you
it
kind of
means,
like pro data centers then?
well,
And like
if you
came out
look,
about like being they're good for communities, and that's
Hey,
so.
hey, Brad, I'm not
But-
for throwing puppies off of bridges just because
Well,
I
no,
don't
but
say
it's
I'm not
so-
for that, you know.
but
that-
you have a good point, because Republicans have been running this state for years now, basically. And we have all these ugly, destructive, nasty data centers. Thank you to our political leaders. Thank you for ugly data centers to our commissioners and to the people who are supposed to be representing our community.
Yeah.
And they're not, because they are getting into lobbyists and they're playing the games of corporate welfare, where you take what belongs to the people and you give it to the corporate monster. Maybe I don't sound like a Republican right now, but
That seems
it's
to be going
wrong.
around.
It's wrong. And a lot of people, whether they're Democrat or Republican, are waking up to it. And this is something we can, almost all of us can agree on, unless we're getting paid off and bribed into, you know, wanting to build these data centers. We all can agree that this is an atrocity and it has to stop. And the thing is the lifespan on these disposable data centers that use up many, many square miles of Indiana land, they're going to be irrelevant in 5 years, and nobody's going to pay to scrape them off the surface of the earth.
We can only have
And
so many.
so the argument and the problem hit really close to home recently. One of my campaign volunteer organizers, her name's Autumn. She became the director of a pop-up organization called Save Morgan County, because there's a Google data center being built on over 500 acres in Morgan County that figured out they don't have enough power to run their data center, so they need to use eminent domain to take a 10-mile swath of private property, 200 feet wide, I think 180 feet tall. I could be wrong in the exact statistics, so don't quote me. These things are like, you know, as tall as a 14-story building in my friend's backyard. No, we don't use eminent domain to serve a private customer.
But if the government does it, isn't it just for our benefit? Like, why would the government, you know?
Brad,
So I
Right,
wanted to see Lucy, I wanted to see Lucy
So they
chuckle.
say, oh, it's for everybody's benefit because there's so much growth happening in
And all the
Morgan
jobs.
County.
All the jobs.
Yeah, but there's no growth, there's no jobs, and there's only an abundance of waste. And so as I began to join her in her fight against the data center's use of eminent domain, I began to dig a lot deeper into the question of data centers and how they should be built. And then I was asked by a group in Richmond, Indiana, to give a talk about the future of data centers. And I thought to myself, the future of data centers is a terrible thing I would never want to talk about, because the future, when I began to think about the future of data centers, it's like a cancer on the earth. And then I began to just evaluate everything that we hate about data centers. And I thought, well, what if I designed a data center? Because obviously we need them. And so I my mom was going to be a nuclear physicist before she started having kids. That was her dream. Who dreams
No.
that? My dad was a technician for NASA on the Space Coast, sending space shuttles up into the atmosphere, and he also retired as a chief master sergeant in the Air Force. Those two homeschooled me, so I know things. And I began to think, can we build an off-grid data center? Can we build a data center that does not waste heat and water? And as I began to dig into it, I began to design one. And my idea was, I'm going to design a data center on 500 acres because that's what the data center of Google is using. And I'm going to make a no waste, sustainable, clean data center that produces a pollinator habitat and a food forest and a beautiful park instead of wasting all the water and the heat. And it will be off grid with clean energy. And so by the time I had developed my concept plan and actually talked with people who know what they're doing, I've consulted with developers of clean energy and data centers, including a data center developer who has built military and civilian data centers and resorts. And my data center is just as powerful as the one Google's building, if not more powerful, but uses a fraction of the land, only 10% of the land, and it's not loud, and it's all the waste is clean and is turned into farming.
All right. So
am I
these
still
things-
able to like make a video of the president dropping a ton of poop on protesters though using AI with this data center? Like, I just want to make sure that
I mean,
nothing's
we're
going to be
talking
taken
about
away from us. Like,
the technology that is being developed right now for data center computing is so far beyond what they're developing now. The data centers they're developing now are basically being built on yesterday's technology because that's what they got approval for.
well,
The technology that's available is it's going to allow us to do so much more with so much less. But everybody hates data centers now, and so there's all these moratoriums on data centers everywhere, as there should be, because what they're building is garbage.
Yeah, it's time to take a pause because I think the cat's out of the bag on a lot of it. And the data center up in Lebanon, they're now coming to get the water out of Eagle Creek, and they're putting 24-inch water lines along the side of the roads in these farming communities with big trees that are going to go down. And I get it. You got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet. And once these pipelines are in and everything's planted back up, it'll grow back fairly quick, but you're not going to replace a 300-year-old tree. It's not going to look the same. And what's
the right amount of data centers? Like,
I don't know.
What's the target?
I don't know how we lived without data centers before. I'm
well, now that everybody is making fake cat videos and on ChatGPT,
yeah.
Made a picture of Lisa skiing. She was working out and she was pulling back like this. I said, "Oh, you need to make it looks like you're water skiing." So she pop, and sure enough, it looks like she's water skiing just in like 3 seconds. It would take me 3 hours to draw that with my little sketch pad. So I don't know. Do we need data centers?
But
I would love it.
So much more is coming with AI. AI is taking over all the paperwork and all the math in all the offices, and the robots are coming for the factory jobs.
It's Terminator. Seriously, it seems like we make these movies like 1984, George Orwell book, and if you listen to the 1965, If I Were the Devil by who's that guy that did the rest of the story? it's very, it's chilling. And that is,
Yeah.
it says, if I wanted to get everybody's attention, I'd give them something, if I were the devil, and they list all the things, and this is 1965, and we almost will ourselves into these things through our media and other things. And, we're just so addicted to, and I got 2 phones. I mean, it's just like, what?
And Sarah, you brought up like the office work and stuff, like with data centers. What is like the impact on like lawyers and like, just can't we look at laws now and simplify everything? Because can't we ask
Yeah,
AI,
you
like,
can
all right,
have.
let's simplify this stuff and erase the laws that are just getting in the way, kind of a thing, or that are old ones that just need to get off the books.
You can literally ask your AI to look through every bill that's hitting Congress and ask them which ones Thomas Jefferson would disagree with. And it will give you a full report.
It's crazy.
You
It'll
can-
be like, ooh.
You can tell
That's
your
just-
AI
I mean-
agent that he's a top class lawyer from New York City, or he's the editor of Time magazine.
It's crazy. So,
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, so how is AI not tackling like taxes to
It should be. AI
to
should
get
be
something-
searching for all the waste, fraud, and abuse in government. And
yeah.
I know when Doge went through and tried to make the cuts, they found that there were people who were 187 years old still receiving Social Security benefits. This is easy work for AI.
They tried so hard, didn't they? The Doge workers. Let's give them a round of applause, because I'm kidding.
They
I hate
tried,
all of
but
them.
the government didn't want their fraud to be found.
Well, then what was the point of it? Like, Elon was in there for like a while. Like, not to get off topic, but what the hell was that then?
I think he genuinely wanted to make the government more efficient. Elon is addicted to efficiency. That's his passion. And it drives him crazy that the government was wasteful and not efficient. And so he came up with a plan to make the government efficient, find the waste, fraud, and abuse. They found billions and billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And then the people who were getting busted decided that we didn't want to look for waste, fraud, and abuse because it was taking money out of their pockets.
I was gonna say, because like, it still costs a lot of money now. Like, Doge was supposed to bring everything down, wasn't it?
It was, and we need to actually make those Doge cuts in Congress. The waste and fraud and abuse that was verified needs to be eliminated, not protected.
Congress seems like the most scared body that I've ever seen, like government-wise. They just have an inability to do anything.
Yeah.
On every side. It's just strange. I don't
Well,
know. If
that's
you guys do that too.
that's the best of America right there in Congress. We're all supposed to send our best to represent us.
I was so hoping you would get out there. You would have pulled them up out there. They would have not known what to do with you.
If I'm guessing, if I had 3% more volunteers, 3% more money, and 3% more time, I might have gotten 3% more votes and beat him.
See,
You definitely shook it up.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, but I stood out in the rain for 12 hours.
Thank you.
It was so much fun.
We did really well. They were shocked.
Yeah, they're still stinging a little bit from it because, it's it should be easier for people to run. I mean, you caught a lot of slack from running, and they didn't have time. They just really underestimated. They didn't have time to put up another candidate against you, and they didn't have all the time to do their dirty little tricks. And
They didn't take me seriously at all. They said to one another. They said to one another that I was not a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I know. That's why I loved it. I just was watching the thing squirm and go, and that's why I felt, it was fun to help. It was fun to help somebody that was in things for the right reason and not just for place and power. And this data center is an example of I got my Do Something Indie shirt. This is my original campaign slogan, was do something. That was the message I got, Yeah, you know what? The city's coming down on you on this art center, and they're doing all this stuff to you. You can complain, but you got to do something. And
Right.
I tried, but folks in the last 8 years have seen my struggles and my bloody noses, my black eyes, my, all the fighting against the system. You only got to do it for like 6 months, but I don't think you're done. I'm pretty sure.
Oh no, I'm just getting started. That
Oh, yeah.
was,
They
I
don't
just
wanna hear
needed
that.
an education.
So, well, I know people are saying, are you going to let Lucy talk? Well, Lucy's got the storms going down there. So, Lucy, jump in here if you can. I can only hear 3 words. It's because of the storms, because they came through here pretty good. So, she lives in southern Indiana, and I'm sure they're down there lighting her up right now. So, can you?
Well, we didn't have internet yesterday at all. And so today, I've got every third word. And with Sarah here, why do you even need me to talk at all? She's my spirit animal. I mean, everything that she says, I agree with. So why should I just
little darker
babble on
hair?
about that? Just let Sarah talk.
You'd be good. Well, I just pulled up there, and thanks to Thor, he told me it was Paul Harvey. I did get the "If I Were the Devil" speech out, so I want to, when we get closer to the end of it, maybe we'll go into the tinfoil hat. And I'll play that "If I Were the Devil" thing, and you tell me what you think. So anyway, Sarah, it's we're approaching these data centers and everything, and one of the things I want to go back to is you said in 5 years this technology. Well, I've been saying that. You're the first person that has said that, because if you think about how fast our technology's gone, and being old, this is the advantage of being older. I remember when I signed up for college with batch processing cards. We had to punch the little hole, and that was our computer, is IBM computer as big as your garage.
Yeah,
just to
those
sign up for
floppy
classes.
disks.
Yeah,
That's where we are with data centers right now.
Yeah.
We're at the floppy disk data center, and they're huge.
Yeah,
And
that
they
one in Kentucky.
very soon they will not be.
Yeah, that's what. And so my contention was, what are we going to do with this extra space? We can only have so many Walmart distribution centers.
Well, wait, when you said very soon they won't be, do you mean like they're going to become
they'll
smaller?
crunch this data. Yeah, they'll crunch this data.
They will become smaller.
Yeah.
We'll be able to do way more computing with way less space.
Thor's too smart for this show. Right? He's a dot matrix.
And when we don't need to evaporate all the hot water into the atmosphere with those fans, we won't need to have them sprawled out over thousands of acres.
So why do we put them up in space where it's like really cold? I mean, that's just a dumb idea.
We have technology coming that is going to not require the same kind of cooling.
Yeah, we're just chasing our tails with technology, but we're our own worst enemy. We want everything yesterday. It used to be 15 minutes, now it's 15 seconds. It's
right.
like, just give it to me now. I gotta have it.
Sarah, where do you see it in 5 years then? Too.
Where do I see it?
Your outcome seems somewhat terrifying.
So this is my data center as viewed from the road.
Is that a Quidditch pitch?
There's
What's
Solomon. What's that? The Lord of the Rings guy is
Harry
up
Potter,
in the tower.
playing Quidditch.
Looks like a panopticon.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Let me show
It's got
you
a little bit of
this. It's a limestone ring, or it can be built with brick adobe based on what part of the world it's in. This is looking down on it. The interior is actually a conservatory courtyard, and it has 2 moats, a warm water moat, a cold water moat, and it has as much computing as the data center that's going into Monrovia.
Wow.
But it's basically
that's a big site too.
The data center is a battery for a biodynamic farm. Here's a painting that my mom did of it.
Oh my goodness.
All you gotta do is just put Sarah's family on something and it gets done.
So because I kind of hate AI art, and so I had my mom do some art for me.
Wow, that looks like AI. I mean, no offense to her, but
I know. Isn't it terrible that people would assume that this was AI art when actually my mom painted it with oil paintings?
That's a lovely sky. Yeah.
It says what gave it away to me was the oil painting on the bottom. I didn't even original oil painting even. Oh wow! But yeah, that I think we've come to rely on that. Now I've not really gotten into the AI. I use it for like if I want to know when George Washington was born or something like that. But one of the things that's really it just chaps me is we got when you go to the doctor, you got to fill out all your health information. For God's sake, just please put it on an AI thing so I can just say, look up John Schmitz. I don't care if everybody knows if I got this bump on my head. I don't care if I just want to not fill out.
You want a better system for them to know you.
Yes, I do. I don't.
That's
care.
what you want.
Don't care.
Right.
I'm not one of those.
This is.
What's that? Go, Lucy. What?
You know that this is happening right now, John. That people that they're uploading their diagnostic information right into Chat GPT or other AI for analysis. That is
Lisa's
absolutely
got
gorgeous.
one of those
Sarah,
rings, one of those
do
little
you know
rings she
about
wears.
Tartaria?
That is awesome.
And it just does everything. Wow.
So this is the entire 500 acres.
And so it's all, now would people live in there or would it be like caretakers in there?
This,
how would it go? How would maintain it? Hobbits?
400 acres of it is the data center conservatory and farm ground, which can be used as a parks and recreation. And then on the four corners of my plan, because why not? It has a wellness center, an education center, basically a 4-H fairgrounds, and what else did I put in there? A resort, because the data center creates 25% more energy than it would actually need to power itself.
So, now you mentioned, what is the power source? We got hamsters down there. What is it?
Yeah.
We got little Brads running around on a wheel.
Let's see, let me grab the artwork here and show you how it's powered.
It's a flux.
No, John. It's a whole bunch of people on bicycles.
Yeah, it's hamster wheels.
The Flugen boxes.
No,
yeah.
It's all those men at LA Fitness put to work to do something real. So it has the same kind of power as a submarine or an aircraft carrier.
Okay, that small nuclear reactor type of thing.
Yeah, and they've been being used for decades successfully. A nuclear reactor on a submarine could power 250,000 houses, and we've never had a crisis with these. And the technology is so completely different from the type of technology they were using in the USSR in the 1970s.
Yeah, Chernobyl and 3 Mile when we had all that. That sort of scared everybody in there for having it.
There's even technology now that recycles and reuses the rods so you don't have the nuclear waste in the same way that you do with the with the type that's being used in some parts of the world.
So Jennifer wants to know, are you presenting this idea to anyone or to someone, or is that why you're in California, or just out there having fun?
So 3 reasons to be in California. First reason, it's my daughter's 25th birthday. And it was just my 50th birthday. So she's been around for half my life. And we went to Magic Mountain. My other daughter wrote a musical that was being performed in near LA in a theater here. So we went to the show. And
I'm sorry, because like John just brought that up. Like, yeah, just say anything about Sarah's family and they'll do something like they'll paint an oil painting.
Oh, there's more.
Or they'll write a musical.
Before I forget.
And then I also had meetings today and yesterday with a developer who develops data centers, also resorts, and also military bases, and also hospitals, who has done billions of dollars in work all around the world and hates what data centers are doing to the earth and wants to help make my project happen.
Yeah. Let's see. Larry, this is I'm Lucy's interpreter here. She put in the private tax. Put up Larry's comment about tax dollars. Okay, hold on. Let me get to it. So before I forget, you have a daughter that was going to Japan. She is there now, right? She's
Yeah,
there?
I have 3 kids currently in Japan.
Wow.
She got them scattered up. Well, I
You just got
I
your
was talking
hand over
to
the
her.
whole globe, Sarah.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you know.
we are networking the globe with this crazy family. I have my 16-year-old son is in Japan, my daughter who is 18 and my daughter who is 20 are all there right now. We had a foreign exchange student for the year last year who is Japanese, so I got to be a mom of 2 Center Grove high school kids, one from Korea and one from Japan. That was an experience because I'm used to homeschooling. And
I want to talk about
Oh,
the
yeah,
homeschooling in a minute, but let's wrap
yeah,
this part up. So, Larry, I think this is the right. Is that the right question, Lucy? Nod your head if it's the right question about the taxes. Yeah. Okay. So, Larry says sounds like she's advocating for tax money to be spent.
no,
That doesn't sound right. I think that's why Lucy wanted to point that out. This was
right.
a private.
So I do not think that data centers should be in TIF districts.
Yeah.
These tech companies have more money than anybody else, and they are building these for their own benefit.
Yes, it's amazing the money. So, give you a real short synopsis about our data center here that Josh Baines, just right down the road from me. And their data center, they have one in Seattle and then one in Austin, Texas, and they have a closed loop. It's not 1 billion acres, and they basically came in and did everything that they asked to do, and they say they're going to give all this tax money away, but it's like half of their tax in a year is $11 million. So if they're paying $11 million in taxes, how much money are they generating? Now this company is going to sell their storage, so there must be just oodles of storage room, or people must need that much storage room to be able to pay those kind of taxes and build these multi-million-dollar buildings. So can you explain that to me better than I just tried to explain?
Google is ready to spend $1 or $2 billion to build 10 miles of power lines.
It's like, yeah, that's just the power. That's not the.
Yeah.
So give you an idea, FedEx in Indianapolis here, they spent $2 billion over 11 years to build their hub. So just to give you an idea of how big FedEx is. And I laid some bricks out there on some of the stuff they did, and it's a huge campus. Go ahead, Lucy.
This is all great, but as I'm looking at you, Sarah, all I can think of is Sarah Connor and Judgment Day, and how she was, like this beautiful, mild-mannered woman until she wasn't, once we came down to, was it August 29th, 1997? Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And
our
so
technology,
I don't know with your name being Sarah. So, if we really wanted to attack this, I'm going to go back to Buckminster Fuller, and I know, Sarah, I'm sure you're very familiar with his work. Bucky Fuller said, we can't fight the system from within it. We can't, fight it from without. The only thing that you can do is to create a completely new system and have it be so compelling and work so well that everybody will just walk away. And the old system, see, it sucks. Well, anyway, end the Fed. Taxation is theft.
Well, you like my data centers are theft. For the title of this show is Data Centers Are Theft. But that's been my contention. And Sarah, you're a perfect example of that. People will not leave a place until they have something better to go. And you obviously were something better to go than what the Republicans were offering. It just didn't get out there fast enough. And people are still just locked into I'm just going to go vote for my normal guy. And it's just how it is. Woe is me. It's the old Eeyore vote. Oh dear.
Right. They just, I only campaigned for 3 or 4 weeks.
I know.
And so next time I'll do better.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. Well, it's I think people are getting to know you some. And honestly, do you want to stay in? I know you want to do good and all that, and I saw your bright eye, bushy tail going into some stuff. And, hey, we all first time around run into some people that take advantage, that aren't the best for you. And, it's a very sharp learning curve, and there's some people out there that will definitely mess you up. And
Yeah.
you don't know if they're there to mess you up on purpose, on accident, or if they're working for the other side, if they're spies, it's something else. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that was all fine.
yeah, you would seem to not even, it doesn't even seem
Yeah,
to bother you.
there may have been people who had bad intentions, but they didn't get
No.
anywhere with me.
No, they
Yeah.
just, well, and I would say your answer should be, I have 15 kids. You can't do anything to me. I just have 4 and that worked. That saying worked. And Lucy 10. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to me?
Well, I had to evacuate a house in Ukraine with 14 children in 4 minutes because the mafia boss neighbor was threatening to slit the throats of my adopted children.
What is it with those Eastern Bloc people? They just don't have a heart.
And so, like, I don't, if you can handle that, you can kind of handle anything.
I know. I hear about
Yeah.
you've been all the stuff. It's like you've lived 2 lifetimes or 3. And that's what I think someone with ADHD that never settles down. I've always had 2, 3 jobs, and Brad doesn't know nothing about that. He can barely keep one job, but like Lucy, you,
I'm
me,
going to a music festival this weekend.
Yeah,
John.
see, there you go.
I'm driving to Colorado like tomorrow, so I'm like almost.
he can
I'm ready
do,
to.
oh, hold on, everybody. He can do 2 music festivals in one weekend. That's a big week.
No, I
That's a
can't do
big
that.
job for.
Yeah.
Oh no, there. See you go.
Yeah, I mean, today I'm in California, and then I'm coming home, and we're launching the new semester for our homeschooling co-op for about 80 families. And then Saturday we have the first farmers market on my farm. Since Hunter Smith's Farm Freedom Bill, I can basically do what I want on my farm now and sell direct to the public. And
hold on, I got to. That was the bill. That was a House resolution. Is that right?
yeah.
It was set up to let us be able to sell like
Yeah.
somebody like yourself. I
So
thought
now
that
the
didn't
farmers
pass.
can
I
sell
didn't think it-
direct to the public. It went live July 1st.
I didn't think it passed.
It did. The governor
Okay,
signed it,
so
and
this is-
we're in.
This is interesting because let's see, it was Cindy Carrasco and Aaron Freeman voted against it. And I asked Aaron, but I couldn't remember what bill number it was, why he voted against it. I was like, man, that just seems like, but I thought it didn't pass. So, but it passed.
It
That's good.
passed.
That's good. I can
Mhm.
sell my maters and stuff.
Yeah, it was written into law on July 1st, and so now I can sell my squash, my flowers, and my tea to anybody who wants to show up for a direct sale on my property or at a farmer's market. And
Yeah.
I can host other farmers to sell direct at my farm too.
Yeah, folks, I mean, yours is, give us the hours and give us some times people can come in.
Yeah. So the farmers market opens at 5 p.m. on 5720 Olive Branch Road on Saturday, starting this Saturday going through mid-October. It's no GMOs, no poisonous chemicals allowed on the products that are being sold on my farm.
Yeah, well, we figured that. So you and Lucy both are in the business. Lucy, what's your hours? I mean, you're pretty much just online only, or do you actually have an open house, or when people can actually
I
come?
work by appointment only. If you try to find me, you're just not going to find me. Only the flock cameras know where I am at any time.
Yeah, we see
I'm
how
always
they're doing
driving
behind
everybody
you.
around and taking this.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
so,
my
well, that's good. I learned
sucks.
something
Sorry,
like
guys.
that.
And I turned
I
into a
learned
pumpkin in 12 minutes.
Poor them 10 kids are getting her. I think they finally took their toll. So
Lucy, can you believe that between the two of us, we've got 25 kids?
between me and Brad, we got 6.
All right.
We should. I'm not even counting. Like, no. Once they hit that milestone of a number, I'm like,
yeah, that's.
I'm not even going to talk about. Like, yeah,
you need a
Y'all
17. You need a
slackers.
17 passenger
That's,
van.
you guys are running a small business at this point.
Speaking of kids and homeschooling, were all of your kids homeschooled?
Well,
It really is.
the ones that we adopted were homeschooled once we adopted them.
Okay.
And
But
then
there are 10
I
naturals.
homeschooled all of my biological kids from day one, and I was homeschooled starting when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, you turned out to be a really dummy, so I don't know how
I
you
know.
did it. Well, you know what? We started out our show with Jacob up in up in East Chicago sort of area, and he was homeschooled, and the dude was so smart and sharp that he quit the show because he had to make money. He said, "I got to sell insurance. I can't be staying up and doing this." But I've met probably half your kids. I don't know which. There's so many. They come up to me. Joseph, I met him. I think that's number 8.
Yeah. He was the 8th of the original batch. And then we sprinkled in all the adopted kids in the middle. So now he got bumped to number 13.
Yeah, I asked him what number. It's confused him. But it's one of those things. I think one of the things against homeschooling was they won't be socially, they won't be able to react. Your kids are not scared to come up to an old boomer like me and talk to me.
They're so confident. Well, tell me, how good is it for us to put 30 11-year-olds together in one room with one adult and tell them to sit still, be quiet, and learn something?
Are we trying to torture that adult? Like, are we trying to make them depressed and hate life and society and stuff?
It sounds dystopian to me to take all the children from the homes and the neighborhoods and put them in a room with fluorescent lighting and uncomfortable chairs and say, look at these books and learn about animals and science instead of actually doing anything.
Oh man, I was born in the wrong era.
Sarah, you have obviously a really good head on your shoulders, and you've had experience with homeschooling, so I feel like you have a leg up on a lot of parents. Can you I think my hesitancy about homeschooling is that some parents are not ready.
They're not smart enough to do it.
Well, partly, yeah. Or they have to be ready to hit that wall of they've learned everything they can for me about this topic, and they should probably go to a school at this point about this.
So I have a question. When you as an adult are curious about something, or you need to know something, or you're passionate about something, do you enroll yourself into a class where you go sit at a desk and listen to somebody talk about it for 45 minutes? Or do you get online, go to the library, do research, and talk to an expert?
Yeah, that's second one. But
that's what my kids do.
I want that little piece of paper that the first. I'm kidding about the piece of paper. But.
Well, one of your kids does the drawings. It's Gary Varvel. He has been a cartoonist for 40 years, and he was our guest at God and Country. I asked him the question about how have you been able to follow the technology of drawing, and he's got a pad like your daughter does and makes the characters, the Bible characters. Right. And feel free to go back and in the comments afterwards. And folks, I would encourage you to do that. And she can.
Sarah, does she have a writing pad?
Oh, she's got one of those.
For the digital pads.
Yeah, the digital pad.
Yeah, those are awesome. Yeah.
So this is one of my daughter's work. She illustrates the Bible and makes reels, and she's got millions of views on everything. 902,000 followers.
I'm telling you, these
crazy.
All the kids are doing that pretty much. Wait a second.
Yeah, all my kids.
I was the dumb kid in my family compared to my sisters. Which one's your dumb kid? Which one's the one you got to really?
She's not going to say that, John.
No. My mom told me I was her favorite on her deathbed. So I know you're not. It's not there yet. But
you know what's funny is my number one kid. He did not have an attention span for doing anything for very long, but he would do 20 things a day. And then when he would latch on to something, he would become an expert at it. But he would always get really into something, and then he would get bored and he would throw it out, and then he would get bored and he would throw it out. And I started to be concerned about him, but then he got into music and he decided, instead of getting bored, I'm just going to learn to play every instrument. And now he is a dad who is a professional YouTuber who supports his family of 4 exceptionally well, being a music producer and listening to the Beatles while talking to the baby boomers about what he thinks about the music. And he has all these sponsors, and he's got millions of people watching him, and he makes all the money he needs to do what's called the 4-hour work week, where you basically work 4 hours a week and have a passive income. And so I was worried about him, but he turned out fine. And then the next one is my dyslexic kid who didn't learn to read until she was 9. And she's the one that's writing musicals and has, she wrote the book Young Apostles and a webtoon, and she's doing great. And then the next one, she's a photographer who has had her work in People magazine and on the big screens in Times Square. And, she's
awesome.
doing fabulous. I mean, and then
is your oldest? Is he gonna say like, "Did you hear that? Mom said I was number one."
Yeah, I'm going to tell him.
Because I mean, you did say that. You didn't say anything like, but you're like,
No,
yeah,
you're going to give you away. Well, but speaking of that, how much competition is there? I know, I'll give you this real quick story about my family. So me and my sisters and I right now are 64, 63, 62. Now my mom would buy us each one box of Pop-Tarts. Now, let me tell you, I'm like 6'3" and almost 2. Back then I wasn't 200 pounds. And she would buy one box of each for each of us. I would eat my box on the first day. And my middle sister, she would get me to clean her room. She would make me do all this stuff for a Pop-Tart. So what kind of competition?
My kids do that stuff.
Okay.
My
I
son,
feel like
literally, okay, so I don't buy ramen noodles for my kids because I want them to eat real healthy food.
Yeah.
But my son, Joseph, who you met,
I know,
will buy a case of ramen noodles.
I knew I read
and then get all 3 of his younger sisters to do all his chores in exchange for ramen noodles.
That's my boy. Wait till I see him again. I'll give him some more tricks. Now, there's another funny one that my mom used to do. I was one of those kids where if I had this shirt, I would wear it until it was literally falling off my body. And my mom would tell my sisters, I will pay you 5 cents a rip. And I mean, they were like piranhas. They would just rip my clothes off. And as soon as she says 5 cents a rip and I have that shirt on, I'll be running. But I didn't survive. They got me every time. So I just think the civil, and I think that makes kids stronger. I know other families that have got ugly later on, but for the most part, we have a closeness of me and my sisters that, it's hard to explain. And it sounds like your kids
My kids are very, very close. I mean, they're always traveling the world together. Whenever, like, one of them will say, hey, I got a job I need to do, photography shoot in New York City. Who's coming? And the other one will say, hey, my musical's being produced in Italy. Who wants to come? And then one of them will say, I'm going to have a creative retreat in France. Who's coming? My kids spend all their money on travel. And
hey, if they need a chaperone, I'll go and be the old guy. Hey, get off on that balcony.
I got 3 or 4 of them in Japan right now, and they brought 4 or 5 of their friends with them. They're like, hey, we're booking a Airbnb in Japan. Round trip tickets are $800. Pitch in $200 for the Airbnb, and you guys can come, and we'll be your tour guide.
Yeah, I mean,
that sounds like a horrible
gig. To me, that's living. And then you see, kids stuck on a video game. I got a couple sons that love playing. It's like that's not living. That's living. So yeah, you're just an amazing guest because you have a million stories. And it's
and you're pretty apolitical, to be honest. Like, can we at least go back to that and just how it's very across the board. And why I love this show and you guys is that we can have conversations where it's like we're not of a certain party,
we're the party that cares about the next generation. I think all of us.
Yeah, well, and I hear Brad struggle with it, and I struggle. I think we all struggle with it. Lucy's, I would say, loosely connected to the Libertarian Party. I'm to the point where I'm loosely connected to the Republican Party. And Brad, I don't know what you're doing.
Neither. Do you think I got a plan, John?
I don't. That's what I like about you. You just winging it. I mean, but but we see so many people that they want to divide us up. I mean, you saw that on the campaign. I saw,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the David
Yeah.
Sheldon, Max England thing was just ugly. I mean,
Oh, and then it was just a blast hosting him at my farm and watching Diego, like, just, that was funny.
yes.
That was really
Well-
funny. I was so glad that I gave him the opportunity to speak his mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
He-
what I
he
think
took
we're
it.
missing.
He
But-
definitely
He
took
did.
that.
Well, but that's the problem. It seems like you got to be fake to win it, and you are not that. And I think it scares the heck out of these people because I don't think I can sit down and convince you to do anything. I just don't think it's gonna. Or Lucy, Brad's easy.
No,
I can have
but
him jump
but
off
if
the
you
building
said-
soon.
They have
If you said
ideas,
you
but
were
they're coming-
feeling sick and you didn't know what to do and you were wishing somebody would bring you some chicken noodle soup, you could convince me. I would show up with
Okay,
some
yeah.
chicken noodle soup for you.
Yeah, that's humanitarian. That doesn't count. But
But
so
yeah, no, nobody's. I'm not going to be anybody's puppet. I've got ideas for what I would want to get done if I had the opportunity. And even if I'm not in Congress, I'm listening to the people. The people hate data centers. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to just take the next 2 years and I'm going to fix the data center problem. And then I'll see if I'm going to run for office, see what people want me to run for. You know, a leader is not a leader because of position. A leader is a leader because people decide to follow them. And
yes.
if people don't decide to follow you, you're not a leader at all. I don't care what position you're in. And so I'm going to run for whatever position the people want me to run for.
So I got another project for you.
Damn right, Sarah.
That was a good to end the serious part of our show because we are doing the conspiracy theory. I'm trying to decide whether
Oh, wait, we're doing
it? We're doing it. So wait in a
All right.
minute. But I just want to
Okay,
plant
cool.
this seed. Carbon sequestration. Now they want to bury it in the ground, which is awful because people mentioned in here Florida has sinkholes. So carbon calciate, whatever, carbonate, calcium carbonate. No, whatever. that turns into carbonate, the carbon dioxide, never mind. I can't get it right. Anyway, and I'm a ceramics guy. I got it down in my studio, but it eats the limestone and that causes when you put it in the ground, that causes sinkholes because it eats the limestone away and that sinks it down. So there is some technology out there that you take the carbon and you can turn it into methane. And it's been sort of poo-pooed, and I can hook you up with somebody to do that because, I know you're busy with the other thing, but for some reason they would rather pay a lot of money to bury this stuff, and when you could make, I think he said $2 billion off of the methane that would be produced off of this carbon dioxide. So not only are you not putting it in the ground, but you're making a fuel that could run a day, whatever. So anyway,
They run a data center, yeah.
you run a data center, yeah, really, to get us.
The thing is we live in a culture where everybody just wants to waste everything and wants everything to be a single purpose.
Yeah,
We want our field to
Single
grow
use.
only corn. We want to make everything disposable. If we use water to cool our computers, let's just throw it away after that.
Yeah, it doesn't get thrown away because it's still here and it's still
Right.
messed up. So, and they don't know what kind of organisms grow in warmer water than it did with the natural. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Okay, so I'm going to play If I Were the Devil, and then we'll come back with the conspiracy theory. So let me see if I can get this going here. Screen share and not have it. Let's see which one I want here. Let's try this one. Okay. Is it going? Hold on.
If I were the devil. If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth, I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid.
Here's what comes off a bowl of strawberries when you drop this device in the water. These berries are fresh from the store and already rinsed under the tap, but within 10 minutes, the water changes color. What floats to the surface will change how you feed your family. My friend works in food safety.
Literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions, just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey. Good day.
So, yeah, I mean, that's 1965.
Wow.
That is, 60.
I guess he
Paul
gave the
Harvey-
devil some ideas.
Yeah, well,
he's not luring anybody into any hotel room. So
well, he's not. He's actually a Lambda Chi at the same fraternity I was in. So hold on, we got to make it official for the thing.
there's a lot of BS in that, though.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second there, Bradley. We got to do the official thing and have our hats on.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
All right. Tinfoil hat supplied. I do have extra colanders for all you guys that I never gave to you, just like your shirts. It took me two years to get them to you. So,
Is it
Sarah, you
plastic?
put in the private, you put in the chat your link. to
Yeah,
it?
I shared the link to the my data center document booklet if anybody wants to see the pitch deck.
Okay, you put in the private, but I just put it in. But that's okay because we go on
yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, and X. And they go on all
Yeah,
those. So
sure.
it's better to do it that way than you don't have to do it all everywhere. So you didn't know we were this big Chateau de Marcel studio network that we're not as. We need to take some tips from your kids on how to get a billion followers because we get excited when we get 100 extra to do that. But so we did. This is a tinfoil hat segment. This is where we come up with theories and Lucy's conspiracy fact. And so mine sort of goes along with the Paul Harvey thing. But first of all, Brad, what did you take? I think I saw your eyes perk up when they said something about science will be,
like religion will be replaced with psychology or something like that. And I'm like, listen, religion can still make its case. It's not, nobody is stopping the word from spreading. Like,
au contraire, Bradley.
No. I mean, like, then amplify your message. I don't know what to like. If it's not making sense, then it's not making sense.
We're talking
You
about
can't force people to believe it.
We're talking about the data center. So there's Josh Cedar. He's somebody on Instagram, and he goes around dressing up like a Native American and says he's a Native. He says he's identifying as a certain person. Well, he looked up. He got onto Google or chat, whatever, and he said, I'm an 8-year-old wanting to transition. How do I do that? And he pushes it in there. And you can go look at this on Instagram. Look him up. And it says, oh, well, you might want to try a nickname, or you might want to try your pronouns, or you might want to investigate what kind of transition drugs there are. So then he says, oh, okay. So then he says, well, I'm a 15-year-old girl and I want to be a Christian. What should I do? And it comes up, it says, you should think about this very seriously. You need to talk to your family about it. This is a big decision that you're going to make. I'm just saying, if you're Jewish and says you type that in, like, I think that is proper advice to somebody of the Jewish faith. But what about cutting off your weenie? I mean, you don't think that's pretty serious? I mean, that's pretty serious.
This is number one, like, but so this isn't an actual 8-year-old girl, because like my argument
was a boy.
is
it was an 8-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girle.
But watch your kids then. Make sure that they're not online to do that. You're still a parent.
This is a typical liberal Democrat.
Be a responsible parent.
Brad.
Oh no, Lucy, you're gonna side with
Brad,
John.
I've got
using that voice.
No, Brad, that's not it at all. No, you're wrong.
Okay.
No. Oh yeah, I've got the mom voice on. Okay, so you're wrong. And I love you, but you're wrong. Because one of the things that you're leaving out, and maybe it's because you don't yourself have a Christian worldview. I don't, pretend to know the depth of your faith or lack of it. However, as parents, we have faced not just our generation, but every previous generation, absolute evil that never goes to sleep. Demons are assigned along family lines. Satan is out to destroy you. The Bible says that he roams around like a roaring lion seeking whom he will destroy. So your children and you are in Satan's crosshairs. So just like Paul Harvey so beautifully laid out, the entire system is rigged against us. It's rigged against us as parents trying to raise rational, children who can think for themselves. The public school system could never have produced the incredible people that Sarah has birthed and mentored and adopted and taken under her wing. That could have never happened in the public school system, because the very first thing that they do is they remove your authority as a parent. They take authority for themselves. Government becomes your sky daddy and the source of all things that are good. And so you can't just say, watch your kids, when the entire system has been created to put you to sleep, take away your authority as a parent, and to literally trap your children in an online world.
Yep. So Sarah, that's a good point. How did you keep your kids from going in the gutter?
Well, we spent a lot of time with them. We asked, all of my kids have decided on their own that they want to follow Jesus. They've decided they love God, they love each other, they love our family, they have a sense of mission. And I asked my oldest daughter, I walked into the living room, everybody came home for Christmas. I walked in the living room, 5 of my kids are sitting around the fireplace, all reading their Bibles quietly. And I asked my daughter, why do you think it is that so many people have trouble passing their faith to the next generation, and all of you have decided to follow the same faith that we have? And my daughter said, because you and Dad are not hypocrites. You guys actually live what you believe. That's what she said. And she said, and you make faith in God fun, interesting, and meaningful.
Well, and that's the key word in homeschooling or whatever is keeping interest. I mean, as kids, Lucy's going to be, her camera's bad, so she's going to be listening, but she's not going to be on the video here. I think that is the key. You're exactly right. Anytime my kids got in trouble, the first thing they said was, "I was bored." I mean, it's like, but my kids I've raised them to leave. You know, they were doing their laundry when they were 6, and baling hay when they were, they hated it. I mean, I made them, but they're all.
It's like Sarah's don't. I don't think Sarah's seem like they have to. Like they can just.
Well,
I feel like you have a very welcoming,
the kids have family meals. We have family meals together. Usually after one of the meals, my husband reads a bit of Bible to the kids, and then we talk about what's happening in the world. And then they all go work on their projects. And we do project-based homeschooling, and the kids major in whatever it is they're passionate about from as early as they possibly can.
Man, that's just
so
you just
they
their
just choose their majors. Whatever they're passionate about, we build their education around it. And what we do pour in is our worldview and our faith, and we read the Bible to the kids. And but I believe that God has no grandchildren, and my children are not God's grandchildren. If my children are going to have a relationship with God, it's got to be their own. And so it's their choice to follow
and you're setting that
or
example.
to reject.
You're setting a great example of what, I want to say like authentic religion is, or like, religious practices. Like, because I do think there are a lot of hypocrites.
Application is definitely the hardest part. Application is the hardest.
That's what I mean.
You can read it and walk away and forget it.
I feel a lot of the loudest people are the most hypocritical.
Yeah, they're the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Well, and that and I think sometimes you get a larger group of people and they sort of feed off of each other. Now that could go negative too. They could turn into a friggin' MS-13 gang, or they could turn into
we're all broken. We're all a little crazy. We're all a little broken. We all have hurts. We all have trauma. We all have something we want to blame on our parents. We all make mistakes. And but when you really get down to it, and people are hurting. And when God says don't sin, what he's really saying is don't hurt yourself and don't hurt anybody else. And if you think about it, that's what he's trying to keep us from, is hurting ourselves and hurting other people. And that's what I try to teach my kids. Hey, don't hurt other people, don't take their stuff, and don't hurt yourself.
Wow, you're after Lucy that's the libertarian theme song.
I just mean like that again. We hit places where these things sound woke. That was very exactly. Like
sometimes the labels don't match what's in the bottle.
But
that's I feel like everything gets tossed around, but like that's a wonderful sentiment.
That's it. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt other people. God wants you to be safe and free and peaceful. And so if you do a bunch of stupid stuff and hurt yourself and hurt other people, you're going to have a worse life than if you didn't. And so that's what we try to teach our kids. But I also think, I do a lot of gardening. I grow a couple hundred different varieties of everything. And what I know is that when you build a garden, it starts with the soil. You have to get the rocks out. You have to get the weeds out. And then you have to plant good seed. You have to make sure your garden is in a sunny space. And then you have to pull the weeds. Sometimes you even have to remember to water the garden. And kids are like that. You can't expect to have kids that grow up strong, healthy, vibrant, fruitful if you just throw the seed out on the concrete, expect it to fall in between the cracks in the sidewalk, think it's going to get a little rainwater, and you're going to grow beautiful apple tree.
Sounds like responsible
parenting
parenting.
Is cultivating, it's nurturing, it's protecting. And you're not going to have kids that are strong and fruitful and intelligent and wise and kind if you don't pull the weeds in the garden of their heart. You think, if you don't put a fence around a garden, the rabbits are going to get in.
Rabbits?
I had cows that were stepping on my garden.
Yeah,
You know,
cows.
I love the anger in your face there, Sarah, too. That was good.
you know, one day I said, honey, call the butcher and send all 4 of my cows as soon as possible.
They got in your petunias.
They did. They kept trampling my rose gardens.
Yeah, my cows got out all the time. I was that farmer that everybody hated because and I had one time they ran through somebody's flower bed and all that. I'm like, it was. I loved it, putting up the hay on it, but it was, I was not. I'm surprised I didn't get a cow hit by a car or something. But they always came home. We always got them. But
yeah, they never left the property. But once the horses did get out.
Yeah, it's always fun and embarrassing and all that. So let's do the conspiracy. I knew you would have something that would be non-conspiracy, but anybody that has kids, that's going to have kids, listen to that right there, and you will be just fine. But application. You can listen, but you got to apply the message. You got to apply what you've heard. So
are we sharing conspiracy theories? I have a new one.
Okay, well, we'll let our guests go
I have
first.
a new conspiracy theory that I came up with today.
Oh, just for the show.
Yeah. So I was thinking, why did society start building everything ugly? Okay, look back at the cathedrals from 150 years ago. Look at Main Street in 1900 in any small town USA. Look at how people used to carve beautiful doors, fathers making cradles for their children, the beautiful handcrafted things. Ordinary things were beautiful. And so here's my conspiracy theory that when women entered the workplace in force in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, that's when everything got ugly. So my conspiracy theory is men stopped creating beautiful things for their wives and their children in their homes because nobody was home anymore to enjoy it.
Wow, that's a...
Feminists made the world ugly.
So, I think of the Obama library that comes to my mind of that thing. Now, I've seen videos of inside of it, and it looks super cool with all the technology in there. But Brad, I see you squinting your little eyeballs up there. But that thing is ugly. Sorry.
I don't know. Listen, it's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Ugly. I don't care what beholder. It's a blind guy thinks it's ugly. It's
data centers are ugly.
Yeah, well, it looks like a giant data. But anyway, I think you're right. The Scottish Rite has 1800s German walnut in that cathedral. I actually did a wedding in there. It is just, if it burned, you couldn't replace it. Or just go look at our state capitol or the Methodist church up there, the Presbyterian church up at 38th and Meridian. I mean, the limestone carving in there, and that was all carved by hand. And it's just, you're right.
People don't do it anymore. Right. And I think that everything got cheap. And that beauty just became something to eliminate from craftsmanship because it became too expensive to mass produce it, and no one was home to enjoy it anyway.
Yeah. So I was going to let Brad or Lucy go next, but mine sort of is opposite of that. Mine is.
I can add on to that if you let me.
Well, hold on. Let me do mine. I'll get out of the way because I want to hear yours. But mine goes right into there because he's saying it's because women stayed home. I'm going to explain something that's women's fault. And this is probably going to get me a bunch of emails or whatever, but I don't care. It's with the WNBA or whatever, the women's basketball league. Now, they don't let men coach. It's all women. And I think there's all women in the front office. And it's like, I hate to say it, but they need a man in there running something. I'm just, because it's a mess. I mean, it's a hot mess. So anyway, send the emails to Mouthwash talkshow at gmail.com. But it's like and folks, that's why we don't have a woman president. Because you just need, if you put Sarah or Lucy in there, I vote for them 5 times.
I mean, are you saying it's because they're again, like, remember, again, Drew got pretty emotional, when he had to speak to Cassie.
Oh, yeah.
Like so the man versus woman argument doesn't always go in the guy's favors.
No, I don't think so. Well, my joke is there's 2 people in a relationship. one's right and the other one's the husband. So, just go with that and you're pretty good. But I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut on that sometimes. But anyway, hey, Brad, the White Sox, how about that? They're like not out of the play, actually in playoff contention with 50 games to go. Oh,
They
Lucy,
are. And
sorry, Brad, hold on. I promised Lucy to go next. Let's be gentlemen and let the lady go.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a lofty title for somebody like me. So I'm going to agree with Sarah on this point, and then I'm going to introduce some others. So the first thing is that in order to appreciate God's creation and God's beauty, we as humans are trying to mimic that. We are a pale comparison, obviously, to the glory of God and to the things that He can create. And so to be aspirational and to honor God, a lot of people create amazing art. Look at what Sarah's daughter's doing. So I think that the lack of art, the lack of aspiration, is a real reflection of the character of our souls and how far that we've gone down. Now, politically, the political part of that, I believe, is the introduction of communism, which Karl Marx, and I'm not even going to get into everything else, but the root of that is actually Satanism. People that defy God and are atheists, and many of them, you all know that we're like being ruled by satanic pedivores. Like, this is not even conspiracy theory anymore, since the Epstein files have been released and people are forced to look that right in the face. And so I do believe that a lot of what you said is true. One thing that I think is underlying the whole thing is economics. It's simply too expensive. In 1913, 20 pieces of paper meant you had an ounce of gold. It was the equivalent of 20 piece $21 bills. Now gold is what? Anybody looked recently? 4,800. Did we get over 5,000? There are people that, because of the Strait of Hormuz and what oil is doing, they're predicting $20,000 an ounce gold. So we used to be able to pay people, $1 or $2 and get an amazing amount of work, and that same amount of work now might cost us $1,000. And so it's simply too expensive. So if we were to end the Fed, I think the ship would right itself.
I think when you're talking about beauty and craftsmanship, that even a poor person who lives in a tiny hut can go get a log and carve it into something beautiful, can gather stones and build a beautiful stone wall, or they can gather pieces of glass and make a stained glass window. It's some of the most beautiful things are made out of things that people pull out of nature for free. And even that's
time.
not happening.
It comes down to time. I think it's just a matter of time, and people just don't. I'm a mason contractor. I remember the guys that taught me, the craftsmen and all that. Now it's how fast can you get that brick in the wall?
It is a matter of time.
Yeah. So, because we need 6 hours a day to scroll our phones.
Well, economics again.
So, Lucy, what
own expectations?
It's not just that. People are scrolling their phones because they're looking for emotional release.
Let me see what
where they should be whittling a stick or building a stone garden.
We sent women off to work, and then what happened? We have one person working to support the government.
One
for sure. We should be creating things in the real world, but the point is that government is so bloated that there goes the dogs. Government is so bloated that we have to have one person working to support the government and one person working to support the family, and there's no time left for leisure or art. And that again is part of the communist and red takeover, because they don't want people creating art. They don't want people having satisfaction with themselves or love for God. What they want is slaves of the state.
Well, we have to end that.
Well, that shall surely fix everything.
Yeah. Well, that'll be the next show. We'll get it all done before next week. We'll get it done. Okay, Lucy. That was the conspiracy fact once again. It's like I would love to see it. We go back and bartering and all that. So, Brad, White Sox, what do you got?
That is my conspiracy. My conspiracy is that they actually just lost 5-4 in 10 innings. So they gave it a good, they gave it a good shot against the Reds. But I think the reason that they lost, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this, tonight was Pope Hat night. So if you guys aren't aware, the current Pope, he is a White Sox fan. He was at
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was at Game 1 of the 2005 World Series. you know, there's pictures of him, like old players have now visited him at the Vatican and stuff, and they send him White Sox things. So the giveaway tonight was a Pope hat.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a pretty nice shaped hat, and it has like it's a winter hat. You know, you wear over
They blaspheme God. He just said, "Hey, we're going to let you get real close, and you're not winning." It's the Moses. They should have been Moses night. They almost won, but they didn't. They didn't see the land of milk and honey. Sorry.
Well, is there something in that, John? Honestly, because like the White Sox led off the game with a home run. Like the first
they
pitch
want
of
to
the
build your
game.
hope up.
Yeah, like so. When I saw that in my head, all I was thinking was, yeah, all right, everything's clicking on this one. And then, you know, the hubris led to the downfall. I think I was getting too confident in that. So
yeah, well, you know, it's what the Notre Dame has touched down Jesus. So you know they all, anybody I know, a lot of Catholics. Obviously, it's a Catholic school, but you know, a lot of people don't know that Marian College over here, Marian University, is a Jesuit school, but you would never be able to tell if you walked on the campus that that's what it was. So
can I also say that communism is not going to be stop worrying about communism, you guys. Just friggin' please, for the love of God, just don't.
Yeah, we have the opposite of communism to worry about. I actually lived in Russia for a little while, and Ukraine and some other former communist countries, but communism was, you know, the government would neutralize all the wealth of all the people and redistribute it to everybody to make everybody poor. What we have going on now is the government is taking money from the poor and the middle class and redistributing it to the giant corporations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what, when Paul Harvey was talking about it, he said something about how it's taking from the haves and giving it to the wants, or he said something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and that makes everyone poor.
No, like that. You know, you're messing that quote up. If you say it the right way, that's it. And I know it's the devil that's saying that in this thing, but I'm like, no, like we're still in control of this, right? Or are we just?
No,
you know,
we're lost.
No, we need to take control of it. I shared in our chat my other booklet about the future of AI, robots, children, and jobs. And I'm very curious, especially what Lucy will think about that, because I outlined the 4 freedoms that I believe that we need to take back to be able to end a lot of the issues with the government monster. Because, you know, people say if you end property taxes or you end sales tax or income tax, how will you feed the government monster? Well, your children, your grandchildren, your property, and your labor are on the menu, and you want to feed the monster.
Man, it's like going deep tonight on a lot of this stuff. And yes, I did post that in the chat. And Lucy says she's Irish goodbye tonight, and she downloaded your book, so she's going to read it, and we may have to do that. But why? I just got a question. Why don't we have any of the things we talked about tonight? I never hear this with any of our leadership, with anything else. I don't hear any conversation like this of sensible ideas that could probably work or whatever. Why? Is it just because they just love to put stuff out there to make us fight, or is it just marketing? What?
They no longer represent the people, and they have forgotten that it's a government designed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, and they're spending most of their time with lobbyists.
Yeah, I know a few of those.
Like, yeah, I've been asking that for a couple episodes now. I'm like, who are the lobbyists for the people? Like, where are the people?
Well, we are.
Isn't it like in. Like that reminds me of an Andrew Horning thing. He always says stuff like that. Well, it's up to us, or we are the ones. And I'm like, damn it, Andrew, don't.
Yeah, I mean, we have got to get the courage to take back the government.
Yeah, these are not like, these demigod kind of people. Like, these are like, Mike is not a stranger to us. Like, our senators and congressmen, they are just fellow Hoosiers. It's not like they have this veil of fame to them. I think they should all be accessible in that sense.
I think they need to be like NASCAR, put their sponsors on their suits.
Well, and they take all that campaign cash from the lobbyists and from these corporations in exchange for favors. They're running on bribes. And we don't call it that.
It's called campaign cash. It's not bribes. That language is too
dirty. But they've forgotten that they are supposed to represent the people.
Yes.
And I think that goes back to why don't we have beautiful things anymore as well? I mean, people used to take pride in their craftsmanship. And, I saw that it was Mike Rowe. He talked about for every 5 craftsmen that are retiring, there's only 2 coming up. So at what point do we have critical mass of lost of that? Now, I have taught, several people how to lay bricks over the years, but not recently. I can't recall it.
If Sarah thought things were going to look ugly, before, just imagine how bad it's going to look now.
Well, we're going to change that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
She's got the army to do it.
I love
we
optimism.
will.
Yeah,
we're going to change it, but we have to decide on the future that we want to leave to our kids.
Yeah, well, I think most of our kids think that they got to make their own future because I don't know. You're not a boomer yet. You're a Gen Xer, and we got the millennial over there next to you. I'm a boomer, and they're blaming everything on me. I'm a gray-haired boomer. It's my fault, Brad. I see you up there laughing at me.
We
I don't even know what
people, we are more prosperous than we've ever been. We have more resources at our fingertips than we've ever had. We have the technology, the electricity, the automobile. We have Tesla chargers from sea to shining sea and wrapped around the world. We have airplanes and spaceships. And people want to blame the boomers for what?
It's everybody got a trophy generation. That's what we did wrong. We were too busy building all those things to stay home with our kids. So,
don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back.
Well,
we have a lot to
behind me.
We have a lot to be grateful for, but we also have a lot of broken families, and we have a lot of fatherless kids.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of single moms that are really struggling, and we have a government that no longer represents us and has not for a couple hundred years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have so much prosperity, we have so much wealth, we have so much opportunity, but we're squandering it.
Yes, we are. And I think a lot of people just throw their hands up and say, well, I can't make a change, but I know you have the resolve to make a change and you got the energy that people want to see. So that's, we love it. So anybody else got a conspiracy theory? We got the Pope hat that lost the White Sox game, conspiracy fact. Sarah's theory about the beautiful buildings are gone, conspiracy fact. Mine about the women screwing up the NBA, I'm going to get hate mail. It's a joke, people. It's a joke. So anyway.
But seriously, I don't think men want to build beautiful worlds for feminists.
Yeah. Well, I mean
and
men get yelled at for opening up a door or something.
Men were the ones who worked in wood, stone, metal, iron, brick, earth, and they built beautiful things.
But that's not just a show off for the ladies.
Oh yeah,
yes, it is.
That's how I landed. Lisa.
Yes, it is. I think we had beautiful things because men were building homes and communities for the people they loved. And now it's corporate everything
that would
building
be their
everything.
Inspiration. Like that is nice that would be like their inspiration, I think, too. I like thinking of that. But I think once you put somebody else's viewpoint into it, it does make it something that it wasn't before. Like there's always been that split.
And everything being made by machines to be more efficient. And then it just becomes cheap and ugly and plastic and poison and polyester and toxic.
And gold plated.
It's like your mom's painting. It looks like AI, and everybody's compliment. That's a real person that did it. So, Brad, we're going to wrap this up. Sarah, thank you so much for staying on almost almost
Sarah,
2
thank you.
hours with us, and we
You're
could go another
welcome.
2 hours. But
Thankfully, it's only like 7:39 here in
yeah,
California.
I know, it's boomer. It's way past the boomer's time here. But
I'm
Brad,
driving out to I'm going to Colorado next over this weekend. Whitty's going to be filling in for me, I think, on the rinse with Drew on Sunday. But I should be back here for Tuesday.
Okay, and you got another little show you're doing with Mark Small and then
Schisms and Rainbows. And the funniest, I came up with that name because I just
we know. You didn't have to tell us.
But I was laughing. Like I really appreciated all the chatter before the show was supposed to start. The technical difficulties. I think it's just Peoria.
So you had that,
is the issue.
Trust me, I helped Mark Small get his technical difficulties worked out on the first time around. So I deserve a Nobel Prize.
But we had Kathy on for like.
So where can we see that? So many people are asking me, where can we see the new show?
Well, and that's like, I think hopefully by next Monday at 6 we'll have it figured out.
Okay. So Sarah, what else can we look for you? I mean, I put your book in there. I put your data center in there. What and the farmers market that's going to be opening up this next Saturday.
Having the farmers market 5 p.m. on Saturdays between now and mid-October. We've got it's kind of a mini market, just all the neighbors who grow GMO food, chemical-free food, bakers, cottage industry, artists.
Yum, yum, yum.
And it'll be fun. I think we'll have some live music, a bonfire. You know how things are at my house.
It'll be a 5 to 9 type of 5 to whenever sort of thing, right?
It'll be fun. Yeah, show up.
Is Sarah coming to your going away party, John? Or
I don't know.
If you're in, I don't know if you're in
California. September 12th is my retirement/birthday/ going away party here at the Chateau de Marcel studio. So I want you to bring every one of your kids too. I want you to load up that 20-passenger van and get your little gaggle and come up here to Marcel.
We just drive around in 2 Teslas.
Oh yeah, right.
We don't even have a van.
Can they do like a mural of John? Like dressed as George Washington. John, you can actually get that portrait of you as Washington, man.
This is eight months of my hair growing out. You can see it's going to be a challenge. But they do have I did look at ordering a suit, and it's got a powdered wig and all the stuff. So, one of these days I might just come on as George Washington on the show.
All right.
Just to see what's happening. Because I think we need to, Sarah, you might agree with this. We need to go all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, we are at revolutionary fever, I think.
We do. If you've ever read the Declaration of Independence, it says when your government gets out of whack, you need to fix it or start a new one. Like with the data center.
Yeah.
The way they build data centers, it's terrible. It's ridiculous. It's the cancer on the earth, and it's terribly ugly. I had to throw the entire thing out and build it from scratch out of stone, earth, water.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to throw something out when it's completely broken.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to start new.
I think we're in that in the prison system, the education, a lot of this government systems that have just gone wacko. So anyway, I think we could go another 2 hours. So that's good enough. Let's wind it up. Sarah, I'll give you the last word. I don't know if you got a last word. We did a lot of words there.
Oh, thank you for having me on the show. And it's my favorite thing to solve problems. So if there's a problem in society you want to fix, I'll throw out the way we're doing it now, rebuild it from first principles, from the ground up, and we'll see what we can come up with. We don't have to settle for the garbage that we're living with right now.
Yeah. If you want to join Sarah's army, just contact her, because this is, she's already got a really good start with all those kids. And so all right. Hey, thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Brad. Lucy had to go. Her internet was frustrating her and all that, but I can't help it. She lives down in Egypt of South America, wherever she is. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Tune in for the other shows. We have Nicole Kapasinski. Hey, Brad, you see that? I think that's how you pronounce her name now. Sarah.
Are you just asking me because I also have the SKI?
Well, you're just Sawinski. That's fairly easy, but hers.
No, my best friend in high school or in like elementary was Mike Tomaszewski. And it
Thomas
was like
Jefferson, yeah, it's
there
like-
was an S and a Z in there, and I'm like, none of that should sound like what it looks
No,
like.
it's like, well, so I just called her Nicole in all caps because she's a pretty vocal person. It's caps with a K. That's her show. She's on Thursday at 7, and then she's got a veterans show at Saturday at 9. So, and then Brad, your show, The Rinse, it's like we're just making it happen.
That's a good time, yeah.
Sarah
Oh,
needs to
thank
have
you,
a
Janet.
show.
Yay.
Yeah, Sarah needs to have a show on here. You know, Words of Wisdom by Sarah. I'll think of a name for you. But, you know,
I had a YouTube channel with my own podcast for a couple years called The Fun School Show, and I would interview my kids on it, and they'd talk about their life. It was a lot of fun, but I kind of got tired of doing my own show, and I just like to be on other people's.
Yeah, it is a little bit of work. Brad got into the business there, and he realized that, hey, it's a little bit hard. And this is just part time for us. It's not like we could sit there and dig up news articles all day and like witty. So it's all that good. So all right, well, I'm going to hit the thing here. Stick around a little bit so Brad can do Irish Goodbye. We'll be on shortly after the broadcast here, and then we'll be on. So hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Tune in next week, 9 o'clock, Saturday, Marsville Studio. Mouthwash. Adios.